Hey, how ya doing? Live from the streets of Kansas City in the heart of America. The car thermometer says 5 degrees Fahrenheit. And I've noticed something, a little trick that's been pulled. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this. But it's the same kind of stupid, dirty tricks that's always being pulled on people. To get people to flock to their TV sets and listen to their radio stations. I'm looking at my window decoration, needs a little work. Minus 25. Right. Temperature never got as low as they said it would. Maybe they were just honestly wrong. No, they were not freaking honestly wrong. They were hyping it. This weather is not record-breaking. It's not that bad. We're going to get through it. We're going to live. And I don't understand why we're having such a hard time right now. The winter in 1995, 96, it was far worse. And actually, we've had quite a few winters. Actually, you know what? This is what's called a normal winter. We should be welcoming it. It's a season. You deal with it and get on with life. You know, it's this expectation we have that everything's got to be perfect and convenient for us. And it's nonsense. The weather is fine. You dress up, you drive slower, and you get on with life. Oh, we have rolling blackouts. Oh, it's abnormal. Oh my God. Give me a break. Rolling blackouts. Okay? So unless the blackouts last more than a couple days, what's the problem? You know, in the old days, you go out and you chop firewood because everybody in cold climates has fireplaces. We don't have a fireplace, but we have a buddy heater. Well, we have fireplaces, but we don't have the right inserts, so we don't use them. So if the electricity is turned off, then we go down, we get our buddy heater, and maybe we go to the store and get some propane canisters, and we heat one room. Maybe I have to go to the gas station and get some premium gas for my generator. I need to run my generator anyway. And that way we can have a little electricity and maybe some heat in one room. And we're fine. We'll survive. A few hours a day, maybe a couple days. We are not a bunch of wimps in this country. So we just need to get on with our lives. It'll be over with in a couple of weeks at the most. They say it's going to start warming up. They can be trusted. It's going to start warming up by the end of the week. And then we'll be on to the next, crisis. We got to flock to our TV sets and watch the news. Oh my God. Got to get on social media and cry about it. No, we don't. Life moves on. The pandemic is much more newsworthy. You know, a few little delays in our lives, interruptions, all that means is that we're human beings, we live on this earth, and yeah, we have to deal with nature. It just reminds us that we need to be humble. Anyway, Lent begins in about 44 minutes. And so I have to find meatless options for my lunch, which I don't have any at the house, so I'm here. And we went to the grocery store the other day to get the price. My wife said, you need to buy those protein packs that you like because they're so expensive. And so we went to the grocery store, and the protein packs were $2.36. And here in the convenience store, where it's not supposed to be that good, they are priced at $1.99. So I don't know. BRB. cold. I'm not a fan of winter. Although it was funny, yesterday, got out of the car and was putting gas in the car, and I was like, it feels warmer. And the temperature had risen up to 10 degrees. This was on a day when it was supposed to be like, oh, don't go out at all. You can get frostbite if you even look outside. And I'm like, well, you know, the advantage to having extremely cold weather is you get used to it. And then when the weather warms up to say, 20 degrees or so, you're like, oh, wow. You're like stripping off clothes because you're warm, which is not really a recommended thing. And, you know, there are a lot of people who refuse to prepare to be inconvenienced, and then they lap up all that crap that is put out on mass media about how horrible things are. And we were driving, and I noticed yesterday that the bridges were icy. Like, you would come on some dry road and then you'd see the bridges, and you'd see like where the tire tracks are, it was glistening, and I could feel it slip a little. I'm like, ooh. So I slowed down. I was doing maybe 45 miles an hour in a 65 mile an hour highway. And I was actually kind of wishing to get off the highways, because the highways were the worst. And so we go to take her doggy to the vet. She has a torn ACL. Hey, how's it going? Right at Wheeler Airport. Scary? Oh, I don't know. Haven't made it there yet. I'm driving a little more cautiously. Says, telling a story as when we went across the 670 bridge. Was it that one? We're going across the bridge. It was icy, and I look in my rearview mirror and I see this pickup truck just spinning out. I think he was doing all of 70 miles an hour and he lost it. And you know, just like watching NASCAR, he hit the wall hard, and I'm like, oh, if it wasn't incredibly unsafe, I'd maybe try and turn around and see if he needs help. I just think it was a matter of he was doing the speed limit or more and forgot they're dry. Well, I noticed yesterday all the bridges had just a thin layer of ice, and I think part of the culprit is that you know, they put all the crap on the roads, and at certain temperatures it doesn't work anymore, because, you know, salt and all that stuff, the way it works is it lowers the freezing point of water, and well, it only works to a certain temperature, and then it freezes. And when you put all that stuff and you melted the snow, then it turns to ice really quickly. Overall, the roads were pretty dry yesterday, and that's what was so deceptive. That's why there were a few accidents yesterday. So yeah, I'm being. Speed limit is 60 miles an hour here. I'm driving 45. Oh, I've been having mic problems too with my thing. It's these stupid Apple dongles that I use to charge the phone, and you know, one part takes the charger and one part takes the lightning connector for the microphone. And I haven't completely figured out, I've narrowed it down to 2 pieces, and I haven't figured out which is causing it, but my mic has been cutting out on me. Which, with this program that I use to, or this app that I use to stream, doesn't let me know if it doesn't have audio meters or anything, so I don't know. There's only so much you can do. I could try and put headphones on, but I think I've run my my earpods through the wash. Otherwise, I'd probably use those, and so they sound like ass. No, that's the funniest thing. No, we haven't been hit by a blackout yet, but we're making plans for if we do. I mean, if we get hit by one, it's supposed to be no more than 2 hours, and it seems like the people that are getting hit by them, they're getting hit over and over and over again and are going more than 2 hours. I don't know. We're not. I guess we were lucky. I guess they're having real problems in Texas, and I'm kind of gloating about that because, you know, it's like Texans brag about how they're hardy and bigger and better at everything than everyone else, except I guess the weather. They're like all the Southerners. Give them a little winter weather and they can't handle it. And there's snow plows. Looks like MoDOT. Yeah, the sun is generally too low for you to get good dose of solar. People that have solar on their RVs, the ones that will, they can tilt the panels, are the ones that have the best. But even even with that, they can't get enough solar energy in the wintertime in the northern. Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. That's what I was saying just now. I was going on a rant about how a lot of this is just media hype, and that, you know, it seems to me like we're always talking about we're breaking records, and it all depends on how you keep the records, you know? This is not record-breaking weather. This is what we used to call in the old days winter. You deal with it and move on. And, you know, when it comes to weather, it seems like media loves to do everything except tell you what you really need to know, what you really need to do. And that is to pump up the fear and make people afraid and miss work and miss school and all this other stuff. I'm like, no, we just need to learn how to deal with it. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can't say that I'm the smartest or the best or the most prepared, but I've got my parka in the back of my car. I've got a nice warm flannel thing that I wear most of the time. I put my parka on once. We tell the kids, be sure to bring your gloves, hats, wear parkas. They got nice jackets, winter shoes. And what else do you expect, you know? I love it when I see these people that complain a lot about winter and then they hop out of the car and they're wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I'm like, fool, what happens to you if you slip in the ice and end up in a ditch? You don't have anything in your car. And you can't leave your car running. I mean, what if your car gets so messed up you can't leave it running? You're afraid you're going to start a fire or something. going to freeze to death. Hello. Sorry, I can't read the names very well. I'm driving, and the lettering on this thing is very small. There's probably a way to change that, but I don't know. So yeah, we're having this shock and awe, and all the shock and awe really is hyping people up so that they will tune in and watch the news in a, what has happened? Well, politics out of Washington have gotten really boring, as I like to say. The adults are in charge now, and so when you have people who are taking care of business, you don't have news stories generated every day. Every time they go sit in the toilet and feel like they want to get on Twitter and say something outrageous. And so things are happening that are more positive, and the news doesn't have anything to make us afraid of. The impeachment thing is over, as predicted. We knew what was going to happen. And, we don't have the drama queen in Washington anymore to generate comedy for us every day. So, boo-hoo, we got to find something else. Oh, and, the Super Bowl is over, and the college basketball stuff hasn't started yet, so we can't go crazy about that. So we got to do something. Oh, the weather. Let's make people afraid to go outside. I'm on my morning commute to my workplace. At morning. I forget that it's still not even midnight yet. Well, it'll be morning here pretty soon. I kept tuning in the camera to Bourbon Street, New Orleans. It's the most decent live streaming camera they have. They used to have more, I think, but I don't know what happened to them. There's a couple of others, but one shows like somebody's backyard. Another one shows like a kind of a weird angle out of a hotel room window. Not that I want to sit there and tune into Bourbon Street and Cat's Meow. I think there's better places they could, the French Market would be a better place or something like that. But anyway, so Bourbon Street was shut down completely. They had it gated off, and people were coming. Just a few people were coming up the side streets and looking at Bourbon Street and going, oh, boo-hoo. We picked a bad time to try and go to New Orleans for Mardi Gras. We had our window decoration up, which I'm pretty proud of, and now I went and changed it back to it's Black History Month, so our sign, our little letter sign now reads Black Lives Matter, and I just put on white lights, to illuminate the window a little bit, and I have a light changing light bulb, and it's kind of fading through the rainbow of colors. Pretty nice little display. I'm sure my neighbors love it. But so that'll be there until March 1st, and then we'll change it over to St. Patrick's Day. Green. Not that we're Irish or that we celebrate St. Patrick's Day big time. Yep. Sorry about that. My window got messed up. All the crap they put on the roads. I'm looking out the window, so when you use a windshield with whatever you call it, windshield wash, it freezes instantly in these temperatures. Oh, it says it's 7 degrees now. Woo, it's balmy. Yeah, tailgaters, yes, it's been a kind of a problem. Again, in entitled people. They expect weather to bend to their sense of entitlement. And some of the worst offenders have been the 18-wheelers, people that should know better. And it kind of makes you wonder why these big pileups happen. You ever notice that the big pileups seem to be centered around the 18-wheelers? Now, most truck drivers are pretty decent. They know how to drive, and they take care of it. But there are a lot of them out there who just seem to be like in a hurry to get, where they have to. And I'm sure some of it maybe certain companies are better than others. Because certain companies have a better safety record. They hire better trained drivers. They expect them to toe the line on safety. But I suspect there's some companies that just really crack the whip on people and say, you need to get across the country in about a day, and then we have 10 more loads for you that you need to zip around. Yeah. My idea is, that little light? Well, my idea is to have like your amber lights and have a sensor on the back of your car so that when somebody's tailgating you, it starts flashing like a little caution, hey, you're tailgating. And the closer they get to your bumper, the quicker it flashes. And I would think that the idea being that if you happen to pass a police officer and they see your amber light is flashing, they go pull over the person behind you for reckless driving. But they would never do that. They only go after speeders, And I'm sure that the federal government say, oh no, that we don't like that. That's a safety thing. We don't like having flashing lights in people's faces. Not that they would stop the most egregious offenders, because, again, it's this huge sense of entitlement that is driving that. Somebody comes up behind you and they think they're in Europe and they're going to flash their brights at you like they're on the Autobahn. Mostly just an annoyance, really. Except, when it's icy and there's two things that drive me crazy when the road conditions are bad. You're being as cautious as you can. You're trying to drive to the conditions, and somebody comes and passes you and wipes out right next to you. They're going to take you out. Or somebody, like if you lose traction and you have to stop all of a sudden, or try and stop or slow down, somebody's tailgating you and they're going to run right into you because they can't stop. Yeah, that's true. I never brake check. I don't do that. And I drive to the conditions, so if the conditions are speed limit, that's fine. Like right now, I know that with my experience yesterday that the bridges can be hazardous, so I'm going a little slower than the speed limit. But there's like, what? I'm in the middle of a lane of 3 lanes. There's plenty of opportunities for people to get around me if they don't like it. No, I don't try to make any kind of like statement like, road rage type things where I'm brake checking. And Another thing I notice that people do when you're driving is when you're passing them, all of a sudden they speed up. And what's that about? Did somebody give a license to a 12-year-old? You know, I try to be humble. I'm very well aware of my own limitations. For whatever reason, the other day, all the cars that I saw, most of the cars that I saw that were wrecked were these Chrysler front engine, rear drive, V8 powered cars. Worry too much about. There's something else I noticed too when I saw that pickup truck wipe out behind me. It's like, you know, I just realized they don't put metal in bumpers anymore, so that when a car hits something, the bumper is all plastic. It just rips the whole face off the car. Truck driving friend told me one of the things that annoys truckers to no end are people who get on at one entrance to the highway and get off at the next exit. They're like, just stay on this city streets. Oops, I'm going a little too fast here because there's somebody on my butt. I'm afraid to, I don't know if I'm afraid of wiping out or I'm afraid they're going to hit me. You see how the ramps are the worst. Hey, I've rechristened the hood to the Herbs. It sounds better. It sounds more positive. But I know we had choices when we were looking for houses, whether we wanted to live, where we wanted to live, and there were a lot of cheaper options and stuff. Even though we didn't have children at the time, one of the biggest factors is like, well, you know, quality of the schools and everything. Whether or not you have kids in school, you're still paying taxes for that school. The Kansas City, Missouri School District is doing a lot better than it had been in years past. Of course, I think a big part of the problem with big urban school districts is that back in the 1950s, they had a bunch of cheapskates in charge who decided to cut costs and combine all the smaller school districts into these large urban school districts that didn't serve anybody, just served the bean counters and saved money. You know, this mythical idea that government works best if we can make it like a corporation and make a profit with it, right? Well, anyway, I'm almost there, so I gotta pack this in. One of these eons, when I get caught up with things and we don't have major bills, we have a dog that's in the hospital right now with a bad leg. Apparently a torn ACL is a very common malady for a dog. But when I get caught up with my bills or whatever, I'm hoping to get a police scanner in the car. So when I don't feel so talkative, no, I don't know if I've seen that one. Well, anyway, back to my cave. Anyway, everybody, thanks for the comments and keeping me company on my drive. See y'all later, probably this morning when I'm heading home.